We are live, guys. Welcome to episode 45 of the weekly. This is our second to last episode of the year. Our next show will be in 2 weeks. And today we have a special guest. We have Chad Christian. How's it going, Chad?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for having me on the show, guys. I appreciate it.
Yes. And next up, of course, is Mr. Warren Bowman from BWOne.com.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's do this.
And finally, Mr. Juan Bagnell from Pocket Guy.
Yep. I like that. No, I'm okay with it. Sounds super dirty, but it's a nice amalgamation of Pocketnow and some Gadget Guy.
Yeah.
So, I will tip a cup of coffee to that horrific merging of my two outlets.
Christmas red too. That's perfect.
There's as much festivity as I could generate out on the West Coast at this time.
Apologies for starting late. I had some serious technical issues here. Windows updates was basically slowing down my Firefox.
Yeah, aren't you glad they give you that business window now when they're not going to do updates?
I hate that with such a passion.
Yeah,
I hate that with such a passion.
Yeah.
Especially, does it seem to you guys like there's something that's being run in the background during part of that update process?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean so you get the little notification that you're getting an update, right. And around that same time, it's like there are system resources that seem to be allocated to tying up my bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I'm trying to do something online, it's downloading the update so the update's ready to go, but it's not really telling me that. It's just saying I can postpone the shutting of my system down.
Your live stream to make sure
is toast. It's dead.
Yes, it is. All right, so that is a uselessness, ongoing uselessness. But moving on to our uselessness of the week, I deem the uselessness, but you guys can probably disagree or not. Apple AirPods are going out. You can now buy them, even though we thought the rumors were speculating that it would not be the case. But to replace a missing AirPod, so you say you lose the left or you lose the right, you want to get another one, you're going to pay $69, which is, pretty much.
It's almost half, right? I mean,
almost half.
I figure they're what's $159, I believe, is the purchase price for them.
I thought it was 150. Okay, I guess.
Yeah, but I thought it was 160. I mean, rounding up to the nearest dollar.
So what do you guys think about that?
Well, remember too, you can also buy the case. So I think they'll charge you.
It's $69 for each piece. If you lose the case, it's $69. If you lose an AirPod, it's $69. And this is we talked about this on the Pocketnow podcast too. It's frustrating because that is significantly more expensive than all three pieces when you purchased them originally.
Right.
Yeah, there's almost that idea that like Apple would prefer you just buy a whole new set. So like say you lose two pieces, well, you're only a couple bucks away from buying the whole case. And I find something a little distasteful about the idea of a significant profit margin being built into replacement parts.
I agree. You know what's weird that Apple always does with their products, and I'm surprised they didn't do it? They didn't sell us Apple Care with it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't sell it for $20 a pop.
Isn't there the extended is just a battery? Like there's a battery warranty that you can buy that's extended so that if the battery dies, it's something like $49 or something. But if you have this battery care and you don't break it, but the product just spontaneously dies, that's not a good omen. That's how the warranty is built. Then it's free to replace, and that's again, like I agree with you. Apple Care would make sense, but it doesn't seem like a product this new that Apple has a lot of faith in the hardware right now.
It may be because of the loss and theft, because it doesn't cover any of those with any of the Apple Care products. I'm just really surprised that they're not hammering us with some sort of $19 Apple Care and then sell us if something happens or something gets lost. Like T-Mobile and all the other services, you're allowed up to 2 times per year with a deductible, and it's just another way for them to get money at the counter, and I'm really surprised Apple didn't nickel us with that.
Warren, any thoughts?
No, because they wanted to dime us with the actual.
Yeah, they're just gonna kill us with the whole thing.
I don't think this product should exist. That's probably what my thinking is, but there's just so many other Bluetooth options out there, and just because they have no wires on them doesn't necessarily make it that much better than than another product that has a little small band through it that's not going to interfere with anything. If I wouldn't invest in that if the warranty was in that way, or if I was going to lose one, it was going to cost me the price of just buying a whole new set. I was like, that's just not worth it to me.
Right.
Yeah. Well, moving from that, just to mention again, guys, we have a giveaway. I know I didn't mention this at the beginning. We have our end of the year, welcome 2017 giveaway. That's what I'm calling it, because 2016 has just got to go.
Yeah, 2016 has taken so much from us.
Yeah,
we're
done.
2016 off.
Yeah. So stay tuned to the end to get more details on the giveaway and also how to enter and all that fun stuff. So moving on to main topics. This week on the 15th, Super Mario Run became available on iOS. You can download. It's a free to download game. The first 3 levels are available for free, and then to basically unlock the rest, I believe you paid $9.99. I took a swig at the game. I played it. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Initially, I would say it's not a game. It's not a Mario game as far as I'm concerned. That's just how I look at it.
Well, I mean, when we were looking at the initial outlay, it's a little slice of nostalgia, and for a Nintendo property, I think, Pokemon Go will be the big Nintendo property that got its mobile push. Super Mario, it was sort of a fun little nostalgic cash grab on the side.
Yeah. I mean, but it still had record downloads, I believe, right?
2.83 million or something, I think, in the first day.
Yeah, it's the most downloaded app in App Store history, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is people were down rating it to 1 star because they only got 3 levels. But I guarantee you the reason why I think they did that is because if you played more than 3 levels, you wouldn't have bought it. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Because it's so repetitive and it's such a short. The levels are so short.
Sure, yeah.
You almost feel like you're just getting a taste, and then that's it. Levels over. Like, it's like a afterthought or something. I mean, you can blow through 30 levels in what, 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, that game. This is why they didn't go on Android. They wanted to make. This is a cash-in. They wanted to get. They wanted to get the Apple users that will spend $9.99 or whatever to do it. They'll go and buy the game. Now they make money off the game to show that they can do that. They didn't go to Android because they know Android users were not going to fall for that crap.
Right.
They just weren't. You would have to give them, 5 or 6 levels, and then maybe at that point to progress faster, you might have to buy some items to help you progress a little bit faster, maybe. Yeah. And in those type of things, you might be able to do. But in this current way they're doing it, no, it's just like as soon as I heard it was $10 after 3 levels, it's like the app rating for that has got to be down to like.
So why not? See, my thought process was, why not just remake Super Mario 1? I mean, you update the graphics, but it's pretty much the same thing and charge $10 for it.
Yeah, I agree. I would pay that 10 times over on every system I own instead of an emulator. Honestly, if they would just give us a portable solution to what we all want. Super Mario Brothers on our phone. Why do we have to go around and, you know what I'm saying, just to get it? Give it to us.
Well, and did you see the kid who did his own 3D printed Game Boy shell case? And so it plays Super Mario. It plays Nintendo emulators essentially. It plays them in just like a little 1/3 window at the top of the screen in portrait. And he snaps on this clear case, and it's got the D-pad and the buttons and start select, and they all interact with capacitive zones on the screen.
Wow.
And that looks like it would work pretty well. I'm surprised because Nintendo has a catalog. Nintendo has archives. The notion of putting Super Mario out just for touch screens doesn't sound super fun to me. That's one of the problems I've always had with emulators. But Nintendo's also a pretty decent hardware company, too, to not come up with a solution for iPhones, at least. I think has been a missed opportunity.
NES mini controller.
Totally.
There's another $29.99.
And then for Android, you could also if you want a cabled connector, here's a USB-C gamepad with a built-in battery to charge your phone while you play.
I'm just saying they keep giving us these little pieces, and that brings up another point. How do you guys feel about them charging $9.99, or should this have been free to play with upgrades? I hate free to play, by the way, but should this? I would almost qualify this game as a free to play because I would only want to pay for what I want to play on this. And normally I hate that model.
I think that model works with these type of games, though. These very mini bite-sized games that are really designed for you to kind of play when you pick up and play when you're ready to play it. And when you want to add a feature or add something that's going to enhance the temporary small bite-sized amount of playing, I think free-to-play model works. Where I think that model doesn't work is when it's a full blown-out game and you need to buy every piece, so you have to microtransaction everything just to progress within the game. When the game itself is a full game, like if it's a full game and it's just you're going through a story, you just charge a phenomenal fee for whatever it's going to be.
One-time fee, right?
One-time fee. But if it's these bite-sized games that are going to be 15, 30, they're not going to be hours of playtime you put into this per day, then I think a free-to-play scenario actually does work.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of agree, but it's just one of those things with Mario is that, okay, what are you going to start charging? Are you going to start charging for raccoon suits? And, people like,
they would. I want a raccoon skin.
I know, but I guess maybe it's just weird from that generation where you either asked your friends, how did you get the suits? You bought the magazines to find the secret location on the map where you can get, the hammerhead suit and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going like, I don't want to pay for that kind of stuff. I'd rather like try and find it in the game.
Right.
Right.
I guess that era of gaming is pretty much over.
Strategy guides. You won't see those anymore, will you?
No, not at all. All right, so moving on. So Instagram had a good week. They launched Instagram Live, and they also hit 600 million. Why say 1,000? 600 million subscribers on Instagram. Have you guys used Instagram Live yet? And also, what do you think about the growth of Instagram as quote unquote? I'm going to just kind of juxtaposition to this too. Snapchat and its IPO, because the way Facebook has structured things is Instagram now is meant to just destroy Snapchat and anybody with that. Like that is the goal of Instagram at this point. And Facebook is kind of like, okay, fine, we'll add all these features. If people want to use them, sure. If not, that's fine. There are other things that they can do. Well, what do you guys think? I'll start off with you, Juan.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
You can.
So first of all, Instagram reaching 600 million. I'm actually kind of surprised it took them this long. For all the word that we've heard that this is like the hot social media, it's gonna be the Twitter killer. Facebook's backing it. It's sort of the photo sharing backbone behind Facebook. That's a number I always sort of imagine that
it was
Instagram already
right?
had more users than that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the business side of it and the IPO, we're still so crazy up in the air with messaging right now. I think the only company that has a good handle on their users, the only companies, I should say, that have a good handle on their users and messaging are WhatsApp and Apple. Apple, FaceTime, and iMessage users are very loyal to that iOS style discussion. I mean, we're going through those conversations trying to get my grandmother a new phone, and she knows how to use her iPad. So we're probably not looking at an Android phone. We need to look at what it is that we can get her. Mm-hmm. So when we start looking at all of the other, like Snapchat services, how they've actually done a pretty decent job of expanding, and what Facebook can bring to the table to combat that, these moves are appreciated. I'm still just kind of curious as to how many different services for streaming, for messaging, for photo sharing, for short messages can really exist. Because I think a general trend, especially for younger consumers, is going to be not actually publicly broadcasting everything that they put out and finding better avenues towards more direct communication, and then also cultivating their audience. So it's not just one big belch of photo and video out into a crowded room that maybe someone gets to see and maybe someone doesn't. It's some of the stuff that we've also talked about with YouTube. Cultivating your audience is going to become, I think, the next big trend in social media or in social sharing.
All right, quick one here. This is back to you, Juan. But wouldn't you say that Facebook has kind of done that job? Because if you look at Instagram Live and Facebook Live Live is literally that everyone in a sense, and Instagram is really to the people who follow you. And also, I think right now it disappears. It doesn't save. So
it doesn't save.
It's sort of that Snapchat like personalized module where I think Facebook's mentality is, let's separate that. So if you want to have that very general open,
I think I agree. So I think that's a step in the direction of what I'm talking about. Where, so say the notion that someone is valuable on a social media site because they've got 10 million followers. We've all heard those influencer chats, right? We've all been a part of like influencer style discussions because we all have more than the average number of followers across social media, or we're on channels that have a number of subscribers. What I mean is someone who's just jumping into social media who doesn't have 1 million followers will still be able to cultivate a targeted audience. Right now we've got all of these tools to consume. All of our tools are based on consumption. Facebook is trying to organize your feed, not in real time, but based on the things that you might like. And that's such a pain in the ass because it's so creepy when someone likes something of mine from like 2 weeks ago and it popped up in their feed recently, so it's new to them. Now I think those tools are going to start flipping into the opposite side of the equation. How can I, as a content producer, actually reach the people that I think might enjoy this content without gaming the system or playing SEO tricks or all of that BS? And I think that's what some of these services like the Snapchats and Instagrams are going to be really good at. I think Twitter has already crossed a precipice where it's real time, it's in the moment. Anything they do to sort of restrict my feed is very frustrating to use. But Instagram and Snapchat are in a unique position where they can start providing more of that service to people on the other side of the equation.
Okay, Warren.
Instagram. What Juan just said there pretty summed up a lot. Not to continue on that. Let's talk about the other part and why it goes to show that if you don't properly have a strategy or a proper plan, not just right now, but 2 or 3 years out on your business model, competition will catch up, but then the competition will eventually pass you and destroy you, i.e. what's going to happen to Snapchat. This happened to Vine. Vine is dead. Do people realize Vine is dead and how slowly Instagram killed that off? Like, they killed it.
Yeah.
Very, very methodically did. All they did was, let's add 15-second videos. Let's add 30. Let's upgrade it to a minute on our Instagram videos. Slowly but surely, people started leaving that platform and going to Instagram, which is was a higher quality application. It connects to Facebook, which is a high quality social media service, which you already have a lot of people on to begin with. And you just have a better community around that scenario. And that's one thing Facebook is good at doing, is not only getting the community there, but making sure they have the tools to be a community within the platform itself so people can connect and speak and talk to one another. So I feel that when you look at Snapchat was really all about just sending private messages or private pictures to people, and it just deletes.
I mean, come on, it was about nudies and dick pics. That's what Snapchat was built on.
Said that, right?
That
was the reason he designed it.
Even though he's the biggest idiot on earth, when somebody comes by and offers you billions of dollars, we want to buy you a little crappy app that you probably spent all of a few minutes building, and just it doesn't really work or it crashes a terrible AI. We want to buy that for about $2 billion. $4 billion. Buy the damn thing. You sell it. Hey, you want to oversell on me? Here you go. It probably would have just died on its own and Instagram would have just existed anyways. But hey, I got my $4 billion out of it. And then if anybody yelling at me about selling it out, well, I got $4 billion earmuffs to not have to hear that anymore. Like, it's just ridiculous. And now they're talking about an IPO. And I opened up Snapchat recently. Look at it. It's still a junky application. I think it still runs like crap. But when you look at it and you see that we have all these specific channels that I believe advertisers and media outlets can buy, so we can go in there and see news and stuff like that within it. I'm like, that is the exact opposite of what this application was supposed to be about. And it's going completely against what they essentially was supposed to make Snapchat. So it's like, I see why the user base is probably going down. I see why that it's probably really easy now for Facebook to take Instagram, who built their platform much differently, and talking about, let's focus on the quality of the app. Let's focus on getting people's photos out there. Let's focus on, let's give these businesses an opportunity, at least a taste of being able to, increase their increase their presence and their reach if they want to, but still have the ability to organically get their stuff going if they want it to go. And let's introduce this, the Instagram Live feature, the direct features and stuff like that you introduced, the Instagram stories and stuff like that. We introduced all that stuff and basically made Snapchat's little app essentially just a feature within a whole bigger application. I mean, you're going to IPO an add-on? Literally, that's what they are. They're an add-on.
Okay. Imagines AG says, I love Warren's rants with a big smiley heart face.
I just rant on things that are stupid. And it's just this was just stupid. This was another one of these young guys that are unfortunately in my generation. I think that I made something great and my shit don't stink. And I said, damn, did you even bother to read what other billionaires, people in your position do when they make something big? They typically sell it and go do it again. And some reason you didn't think you could do that.
All right, let's get Chad into this because
he's like leaning back and everything too. Is just watching the show.
God. Everybody that goes to college has got to take an economics course. For God's sakes, you should
here's
learn.
The crazy thing with apps, and this kind of goes back to the whole Instagram at 600 million, right? Here's what happens with apps. They end up either getting bought out by someone or they sell themselves out. So what I'm waiting to see that happens with 99% of all these apps that are, trying to last forever is first thing they're going to do is they're going to start throwing in pay. They're going to want you to, pay to have an extra Instagram up, or, you know what I mean? Oh, you can only have 2 accounts now, or we're going to start scrolling through Instagram. It's going to be nothing but commercials, YouTube. So all the things that's going to start happening is once that happens, does then the app sell it to someone else or does it disappear? Because guess what happens with Snapchat? You're talking about Snapchat a lot. They started paying a premium if you wanted to rewatch a video. If somebody sends you a Snapchat that disappears, they had a clickable at some point. I think it only lasted like 2 weeks. I don't even know if it still happens. You had to pay if you wanted to see it again. So you were buying Snapchat coins, basically. So that's what I mean. All these things are cash grab. And I understand because they have to make money, right? They can't just make money by having subscribers. They have to sell it in some way. And how do you do that? You have to market, right? You have to have ads inside of your programs. Well, what happens when you get ads inside of your programs? Some other Snapchat company called MacJack is going to go, hey, we do the same thing, but we don't have ads until they get big. And then they throw ads. And then they're gone or bought out. Or you know what I'm saying? So we have this.
So Chad is telling us that this is
constant. So when does the bottom fall out? How much bigger are they going to get? Who's going to buy who and what's going to be left?
Hey, Casey Neistat got smart. I made an app. It got popular. Then I sold it to CNN for millions of dollars.
Right.
And then they gutted it, and it resembles nothing like. But he got his money, so he out.
And what he's going to do, most likely, is what he's going to do. He's going to take his money and probably do it again.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He's going to go and do it again with more resources now.
Yeah.
That's how these millionaires become billionaires. That's how they do this stuff.
Nobody was using Beam, by the way. If you ever got on it, I got on it. It was horrible. Yeah, I love you, Casey. Sorry. But it was a horrible application. But they wanted Casey Neistat, and I understand that. He's the product, right? So they wanted to buy him. So it wasn't his application. That's crap. That's gone. We'll never hear from Beam again. That's just gone. They bought Casey Neistat, which is awesome. You're right. He sold when he should have, when it made sense. And now he has the freedom to do whatever he wants. So now CNN just calls and says, come on over. Let's do some news or something. Done.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yep. All right, moving on to T-Mobile. As we talked about with DirecTV, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, DirecTV Now is available, and T-Mobile, of course, has come out with an offer, as you would expect. You can now, if you switch over 2 lines, now that's the stipulation, 2 lines over to T-Mobile, you get it for $120 with their T-Mobile One plan, and they will also pay for your DirecTV Now for a year.
Yeah, and it was you had to have 2 lines.
Yeah.
Minimum 1 year, so you had to have it for the 1-year contract. So, the whole don't have to have a contract with us. Well, they're kind of finding ways around that, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I think about it. I don't mean to jump in, but I think it's crazy to even think that you would be pushing someone else's product that you hate. I think that's crazy. That would be like Microsoft saying for every
but T-Mobile doesn't hate
I'm
AT&T.
give you, a Mac tablet. So if you stay with us,
no. See, T-Mobile loves AT&T because they got all that AT&T cash from back in the day.
Right? Think about it. John over at T-Mobile every day is trying to find a way to sell that company. Every day you hear about
okay. Well, we do know. Look, this is what's going to happen to T-Mobile in 2017. This is a prediction, but before that, if T-Mobile really wanted to add on the service, this should be part of Binge On, right? Yeah. DirecTV Now should at some point get onto Binge On. Right. But this is what's going to happen to T-Mobile. T-Mobile will merge with Sprint starting by the end of next year. I can almost guarantee, just because of a lot of the political wrangling, the fact that the SoftBank CEO announced, and with Trump, that he's investing $50 million, even though he announced that earlier, but he came out again and stated that, and they're going to merge with Sprint. I can see that happening at the end of the year. Just my thoughts. Anyway, Juan, what do you think?
Well, I don't know about the merger. I think.
Oh no. That's just my.
No. I'm just saying, just to kind of piggyback on your last point there. I'm not sure about a merger. I think just like we've heard rumors in the past, there might be some obstacles to that, but I would prefer there not be. But regardless, it's one of the things that I got to give T-Mobile some credit for is. So they've built a reputation for shaking up the status quo, right? That has been very impressive over these last couple of years. This year in particular, they've made two moves, which I find very interesting, coming from a traditional cell phone company. This one I thought was fascinating. Again, using bill credits to subsidize someone who might be afraid to leave a competitor. So the psychology on that is actually really profound. You're with AT&T.
They've done that twice. They did it with a Pixel phone. Hey,
well, that's exactly the other point I was going to bring up. Is we're getting news that there's going to be this Google deal where you can go into a T-Mobile store and buy a Pixel, but T-Mobile is not selling the Pixel. And so those types of moves are very interesting in disrupting the sort of traditional carrier notion. Right. And it's one of those things, again, my grandmother's phone is on T-Mobile. We've been looking at the phones that T-Mobile has to offer, and there are a number of options that are just sort of missing. Like T-Mobile's actual phone offerings are a little lean, but there are so many phones you can use on T-Mobile. So the idea of starting with the Pixel, a conversation where you walk in and here are our first party solutions. You can get an iPhone, you can get a Galaxy. And now here's a little web kiosk where you can buy any phone that will work on our network. But it might not be properly supported the same way that this Galaxy would be, is a really compelling idea. So again, I mean, like, I'm always a little nervous about some of these moves. Like, I think the binge on plans, stepping on net neutrality, we have to have a very sensitive conversation about the politics there. But T-Mobile has done a phenomenal job this year, in my opinion, of at least getting us to question how we should be doing business with a carrier. And hopefully more of that starts feeding over into Sprint, into AT&T, and then Verizon will keep doing business the way that they always do. And we can just kind of poop on them for being who they are.
Because it's been so upsetting that, because a phone company is no longer a phone company. Let's be honest with that. They are a data providing company. So they got to stop with the whole, I'm a phone. No, you're not. We haven't used phones in 20 years, and if we do it over Wi-Fi.
It's the least used app on my mobile supercomputer.
But that's what T-Mobile, what John is geared T-Mobile towards. Remember, they've even kind of said it themselves. They're a mobile internet service provider.
They really are, and they need to.
And that's what all these companies need to really understand that.
Right. He has done some really good things. I do. The binge on is, this isn't a T-Mobile rant, but I love the binge on. I use it every day. I think it's fantastic. You buy a $10 mobile plan on your tablet. Guess what? You got unlimited YouTube everywhere you go. I mean, who else gives you that? Verizon will destroy your pocket for that. You might as well just give them $300 a month for no data. Forget it. It's horrible.
I mean, just as a note, did that commercial with the bouncer, that Verizon commercial, bother you guys?
Which
it's
one?
Like it completely. Remember, they were like, oh, in some carriers, they halt your stream after a certain point, so it's not true unlimited. And the bouncer like closes the rope so you can't get in.
Yeah,
I was just sitting there thinking, like, that's the wrong metaphor.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Because like Verizon won't ever slow down your data. And you're like, yeah, but you know, you're not showing me bribing the bouncer with tons of cash to keep getting in. Like,
well, they can't slow you down because their next step below is their crappy EVDO network. So to keep everyone happy, they have to keep.
I was in the valley. I was in the valley by the mall, and I'm still on Verizon for this LG V20 review unit that I've got, and I'm showing full signal. I'm in like a populated area. This is a place where I get amazing coverage on T-Mobile and AT&T. And I looked at, and like my phone is dead. It's locked. And I'm looking down, and like I've got full signal. It just says like I'm not on LTE anymore. And I run a speed test, and it's something like a 0.04 download. And like, how is this possible?
We're in a congested tower.
Oh, so bad.
That's so terrible.
All right, let's move
Verizon.
on. Let's move on. Actually, wait, I guess since we're talking about Verizon, we'll skip the next topic quickly and move to the other. Verizon says they'll roll out their update to kill the Galaxy Note 7 on January 5th. And also, Samsung also mentioned that right now the recall rate is about 90%. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but what do you guys think about them just, setting a date and finally doing that push? Think it was wise to let people enjoy the Galaxy Note, one last time throughout Christmas?
First of all, I think they had to do this. This wasn't a should they and could they and would they and all that. They had to do this because what people don't know at all, my son works for a government, so before any of these recordings came out and the phones were blowing up, it came from top command that said no Note 7 is allowed in any military base in the world, in the U.S. military bases. Before it even happened, they were informed that every phone, and I know everybody's like, no, you're not right, Chad. Guess what they are? Every one of those Note 7s will blow up. It wasn't a matter of when. It was going to happen. The way they made those batteries, it wasn't just a heating up problem. The way that they compressed those batteries, they were going to blow up. And now you know the severity of it because they are saying you just can't use it. Flat out. That's it. Not maybe, or you could have, or come on, bring it in, we'll give you a coupon.
Okay, Chad just trying to put a damper on my Note love, man.
I'm serious. I've been warning people, like, seriously.
Look,
the top, like, not just some computer guy. He cannot.
Chad is just trying to make me sad. I still want a Note 7.
I love my Note 7.
I would like to just put up a Note 7 right there on the wall.
It was my favorite phone of the year. The phone that did not happen was my favorite phone of the year, for sure. So
Chad agrees with this. Anybody else quickly? Because I know that we already talked about this.
I agree with that in most cases.
Well, so I mean, like, really, the only thing is like to take another shot at Verizon, to go through this notion of consumer choice. Everyone else was on board saying this is a software update that's going to shut down the Note 7, and here's when it's going to arrive. And Verizon going, well, we might not do that because it might be stressful to replace your phone near the holidays. So then arrive at pretty much the same date as everyone else. Actually screws Verizon's message there, because they were saying like, oh, well, we want to give people enough time to plan, blah, 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 blah. Well, now because of that, you actually gave Verizon Note 7 customers 1 week less to know what your plan was to make the right arrangements for replacing that phone. So again, you messed up. You messed up what should have been a very straightforward situation.
I think the legal ramifications are huge. I mean, you get a couple of these that's the real reason why they're doing this massive recall. And it's not just, you got to have our phones back because there's a problem. No, it's not. This is a legal issue. If this burns down a building with your family inside of it and it kills them all, guess who's responsible for that by saying you did not have to bring that? It isn't going to be the Note 7. It's going to be the carrier you bought it from. Verizon would have to own that. So think about that ticking time bomb from now until January 5th. That's horrible.
This is a question here for you, Juan. It's not really for you, but Chris says, on the scale of 1 to 10, how much does Verizon suck? I mean, you hammered them twice, so I figured.
Careful.
And I could phrase this to I could phrase this to Warren, but I think I know Warren's answer.
You're right, I know my damn answer to that.
So here's the problem. Verizon's the #1 carrier in the United States, and they act like it. And I think that's the biggest problem with Verizon is there's a certain level of hubris that they're sort of conflating for their customers. We're the biggest, so we're the best. And I don't find that that's always true. I find that a lot of their business moves actually fly in the face of consumer choice, and actually consumers getting their jobs done. And I like poking sticks at that kind of situation. You know, I've got an interesting relationship with AT&T in that I'm really close with some of their PR people, but I also look at them as a company that they're at least trying things in this giant ship to acknowledge the fact that they're the largest second place carrier in the United States. And then you have a lot of fun looking at T-Mobile and Sprint as they're these scrappy little underdogs that are continuing to wage war against AT&T and Verizon. Like, this whole landscape is a lot more interesting to talk about once we sort of walk away from Verizon doing things that are really frustrating for a lot of consumers. You know, there's so many times people like pick up a phone that's on Verizon and be like, oh, it's so frustrating. They did all this crap to my phone, or they changed my Galaxy's menus, or they loaded all these apps. Better keep giving them money.
Yeah.
Why?
I know, right? No choice.
So I guess Juan has basically said that according to Kashifia, Verizon is like poop. Okay, let's move on to our next topic. This one sounds fun. Maybe we might see something at CES, maybe not, but probably next year we'll see something from these companies. LG is set to supply Apple, Google, and Microsoft with foldable displays. Now, that just sounds really cool altogether. I don't know what those displays will be used for. Might be for heads-up display. I'm thinking that for Microsoft, just because we know Microsoft is not doing anything in the mobile space. It might be for heads-up displays for everyone. But what do you guys think about this? I'll start off with you, Warren. What do you think about LG supplying foldable displays to the big three?
It's interesting. It depends on what device it's going to be and what are they going to be for. I'm trying to think what the foldable displays in terms of applications that we'll see in a consumer level outside of maybe a heads-up display or a display that's in some type of retail environment. I'm not sure what the core consumer, like what type of device or something they can offer in that manner.
Hey, Warren, do you remember that one commercial? And I want to say it was Samsung. When they first introduced, they were showing these flexible screens, and it was actually a tablet that you would hold from the side, and they showed it pulling it apart, and it was the screen. Do you guys remember that? So it's a roll screen. Basically, the screen's on a roller, and they would pull it out. I think that's the kind of stuff that I could see it being used for. As like a tablet instead of carrying this.
Stop daydreaming, Chad. Just stop it. just stop it. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
No, I don't know why you guys invited this Chad guy. So, he's like, oh, pie in the sky.
Yeah,
unicorn farts are magical.
Chad, this is not some kind of secret electronic scroll that aliens dropped into our hands.
The funny thing is that is what it's going to be, because you can see it now with LG. If you've ever watched their demos where they actually show like the bent screen that's turned to the side, and if you look at the bottom, the bar is all it is that's running the display that is then doing that. So think of your microprocessors and everything that are getting nano sized. So the smaller those get, the more you could have everything literally inside just a screen.
I'm just waiting for that rollable TV.
It's gonna happen.
4K HD. Yeah, it is going to happen.
I don't know about 4K. That might be a while.
No, it is 4K.
Actually, I bet 4K arrives on that pretty early, just because the manufacturing process. Yeah, well, not necessarily like a rollable TV, but a TV where kind of what you're saying, Chad. All of the electronics are docked somewhere else, but because it's AMOLED. Right. You can just paint it onto your wall. I think something like that would be really compelling. I'm still not sold on flexible displays for flexible mobile products.
Yeah, I can't see it at all. It's already.
But even for tablets, so you've got those things like what was one of those Mission to Mars movies, and he like rolls out a screen. So how do you use that?
Well, and I mean, of course,
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm not trying to pick on you, Chad, but I mean, like, you open it and then.
So in the stand, okay, let's use that. It's a perfect example. So let's say you pull this out. Well, because you have room inside of the space. Well, now if you click a button, the tripod comes out. It has its own built-in stand. It's got its own built-in holder. You click a button, boom, drops out, just like our camera equipment does, right?
Right. So I mean that's how you hold it, or that's how you prop it. I'm still stuck on like how do you use it? Imagine like some of those first generation touchscreen laptops and how much ire there was. Oh, when I poke the screen, there's a ton of wobble, and you're like, well, no, duh, laptop screens wobble. You're just not used to touching them. Well, but most laptop screens shake. So now you've got a foldable floppy display.
But it wouldn't be. So do you guys remember the slap-on wrist bracelets?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
you do the same concept, but with the tablet, right? So
but could you?
Yeah, I think you could.
Because a slap-on bracelet is basically just measuring tape.
Well, it is.
Like a measuring tape, and you cut that, and it's got like a bend in it.
If that's all you needed to do. So let's say on the rims on the side was just a thin piece of metal, right? Remember, I'm an engineer, so I have to figure out all sorts of...
No, I'm like, this is why I'm kind of going down this rabbit hole with you, because I doubt that any of those solutions will be usable long term, and I still don't think... So you have a little piece of metal that pops so that it locks into place.
Nope, only the very top, which would hold the frame, basically, would be that thin piece of metal, correct? So once you pull that out, and you would just push against it so it would pop itself, it would look like your Note 7. Your screen would be folded back to that piece of metal.
Now, to make it pop, would you have to actually run some kind of current to make it actually more rigid?
Well, I mean, that's something, talk to Microsoft.
I mean, if
fans, right?
Yeah, if we're going on that route. I mean, to me, the closest thing I see is something similar to the tablet that we saw in Westworld. If you watch Westworld, with the multi-foldable tablets that go from one size, goes from like a 7-inch to a 10-inch.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That would be your most practical application. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rollout, which honestly I think that would be the easiest way. But you could have, it starts the size of your phone. You fold it out a couple times, and now you have a 12-inch screen.
So, I mean, something like that I think makes a bit more sense. But anytime you start changing the structure behind something like a tablet, we have to readdress how do you use the tablet? Right. Because even with like the rollout example, going back to that, anytime I press that screen and there's give or there's,
but I'm laughing at a comment. That's why I apologize.
But anytime I use that and there's give or there's flex or like that's not actually nice to use with the current way that we use tablets. Trying to game on that wouldn't be very fun.
Here's the thing, though. Then you got to change your perception of what we think is a tablet, because a tablet is not going to be a tablet in 10 years from now. Because I've got the HoloLens and all these other systems that isn't a tablet anymore. So the fact that we're still using these old antiquated screens that we're even staring at today to begin with, I think is ridiculous, and that tells you how slow I think technology is going. So for us to say, oh, it's a tablet that we, click on Facebook and, play these video games, I think that's different than what we're going to be using it for in 10 years from now. I think it's
right. And that's ultimately the point because we talked about, there's another company, there's a Japanese company that's looking to do the same for LCD. Yep. We talked about this on the Pocketnow podcast, where they're going to try and give flexible AMOLED a run for their money with a more traditional LCD panel. And there isn't any usage that I can think of with the way that we currently consume apps and services where flexible displays bring anything to the table, if not actually making the experience worse for how we use mobile products.
For billboards and marketing and things like that they'll wrap around buildings. I mean, there are applications for it, but
but they're pitching this a lot at like consumers because it's
products, watches.
I think
it's the same thing we talked about with Samsung on curved screens. Yeah. Right now, we're not seeing data that customers are buying phones like the Galaxy S7 Edge because of the curved screen. They're buying it because it's got the better battery and it's a bigger display, and they value those aspects. But that the curved screen, for some people, actually is a deficit in how they might use their mobile device.
That was just a way to get rid of the bezel.
That was just, whoever doesn't like curved screen is useless as far as I'm concerned.
I still have problems on Samsung's using the camera. If my thumb is rolling over into the part of the screen where it registers touch, like that affects usage.
Use those Hobbit hands properly, okay? Just use the
I have the Hobbit hands. I have the little hands.
Apple said.
I am least susceptible to that problem. Bigger hands people have more problem with that.
I don't.
I'm actually looking out for you you freakish giants.
Banana hands.
No, but I was gonna say before
Whatever.
before we move forward is I think you're gonna see flexible displays will play a better role in cars, automotives. You've
Absolutely.
got so much contour
and that's actually one area where I think LG will be ahead of the curve because they've been doing curve pun intended. They've been doing some amazing work not only with curved like foldable AMOLED display technology, but then also some amazing work on clear screens. I'm still shocked that we haven't seen more of this in the United States, but some of their concepts on like vending machines where it was a clear panel that was a full display that instead of having like a keypad, you just touched the part of the screen, the glass where your item was, and it dropped down. If we could start factoring some of that technology into a part of a car windshield for a heads-up display or some of the panels that we've seen from Hyundai.
Yeah,
some of that stuff would be
heads-up display has been around for years. You used to have VEDs, and everything's on the front. You never have to look at your consoles. So again, I think we have to look at the way that we're looking at. An instrument panel is going to change from 10 years from now. I mean, look at what Tesla did. All they did is, is they threw in a 12-inch tablet in there and said, "Hey, this is your display."
And it looks like crap. I'm sorry,
but
I think that's a terrible
move. Our perception of what we think because it's been there for 50 years is going to be gone. And it's going to be guys like us that go into a room. I used to have a think tank and be like, you know what? What can we do?
Okay. You see, wait. Thank you very much, Chad. I know. See, Chad has rolled into our normal foray of giving free advice to people and companies. This is what we're
joking about being the consultation team for a while.
Yeah, this is what we do every
day. I mean, I'm a consultant full time. I mean, this has been my job for 20 years.
So we need to come up with our own think tank and lay out some of these great ideas for loss of cash. I'm sorry, guys, we are selling out. Right. Remember when we talked about selling out earlier on? Yeah, this is what we're trying to do.
I used to do this because, not to pump myself, but I used to have 5 retail stores, and every weekend I would say, hey, whoever wants to show up, I buy you pizza and drinks and all sorts of stuff. We come in. Literally, that's what we would do. We would think tank. What can we do? Is there any things we can design? Is there programs? Hey, web team, come here with my software developers. It's the same thing. It's going to be guys like us that sit down in a room, right, and go, hey, what can we make? What does the future look like? That's how this happens. So while we laugh today and go, that's dumb, well, guess what? 20 years from now, when this Diet Mountain Dew can is
and he's holding it up. It's like he's trying to get the product placement.
I'm hoping.
Who is this guy?
Oh wow, that's too funny.
I don't know what it's going to be, right?
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to our last topic, and I know Warren will go whatever on this one, but this this was on Pocketnow, and you guys showcased.
How do you know?
Probably the next gen Sony Xperia XA leaked with little flair. That was the title. So I want you to kind of start this one off, Juan. What do you think about this device? Some of the rumors from OnLeaks, and I'll go to Warren, then I'll end up with Chad. Just could you lead us off here, Juan?
To lead off with the next gen Sony.
Yeah. What do you think about it and all that fun stuff?
I mean.
Sorry.
All right. So I've not had a good year with Sony.
Has anyone?
Well, no. I mean, I don't think anyone has. So there's this like really passionate cabal of Sony fans on the Pocketnow site that
in Australia.
The biggest Sony hater, shill, Samsung, Apple paid for reviewer on the planet. The X launch, I think, has been very poorly conducted. So where we were from the Z and killing it and saying, hey, well, what we're going to do is we're going to focus, go back to basics and minimalize on this device. But we're still going to charge a lot for you to own a Sony. For devices that I don't think are built as well, that are underpowered compared to their competitors, and I think have walked away from some of the things that made Sony a household name. When I pick up an XZ, I've got one over in my bookcase right now. The Sony name used to mean top tier audio, used to mean top tier quality video. Those were things. And I still have the hugest respect for Sony's camera department. They make amazing cameras. So when I pick up a Sony camera on a phone and it's fighting me for focus and it's doing weird things with auto processing that I can't predict, I might get an interesting looking shot out of it, but it's not a shot that I can predict. That I have a problem with. And so when we start seeing some of these other leaks, and it's going to be a 5-inch screen, they're going to be moving USB-C into where the XA line used to be with micro USB. Those are all steps in the right direction. But Sony has a humongous issue in addressing just the core philosophy of what their phones should be. And I don't think they know what that is. And I think they're too obstinate to take a step back, look at their mobile strategy and refine. I think again, we're going to use a word like hubris. They're Sony. They shouldn't have to do that. They'll make what they think consumers should use, and then consumers will buy it, except no one's buying it.
Okay, Warren?
It's a Sony phone. No one's going to care. We'll be at CES when we walk in, and that's the only thing they announce. Do their long press conference in their booth, talking about a bunch of nothing, as you usually do. And we'll see their one phone. Everybody will take pictures of it. They'll talk about it that day, and we'll never hear from it again. And that's just how Sony's phones go. So even if they leak something out, the buzz for it's going to be so weak because they've been so bad about getting their name out there. And then beyond the fact that the devices, well, I think from a hardware perspective have been good, from a digital perspective look nice, it boils down to their software and their cameras, which are two of the most important things on smartphones these days that they just don't do a good job of. And it's gotten so bad that people have just kind of gone numb to anything that they put out. So it's nice to put out a phone. It's like, just like, everybody remember the 4K screen phone they put out?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we do. I mean, if you're asking us, but for the audience,
I'll even get a better challenge for this. How many of you actually posted that on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, how many's on your daily driver?
All of us had access to that. All of us had access to that.
Oh, I didn't. Yes. I would have. I never got my hands on one, which was kind of.
Hey, I guarantee you, there's very little video of that out on people's channels.
I wanted to add on to what Warren said. I think the problem with Sony and their phones, I think they are going down the same rabbit hole that Microsoft Windows phones went. They don't market.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
No one talks about it. They don't market it. It doesn't matter how great it is. If no one knows it exists, what the hell are you doing it for?
Yeah, this guy knows what's up. I like this guy. We can keep Chad. Well, basically, he just agrees with me all the time. It's awesome.
One of my top 3 favorite Android phones of all time was the Xperia Z3 or Z3.
Oh yeah.
Else across the pond. Well, think about that. That was the greatest phone that no one ever even knew existed. Best battery life, absolutely phenomenal. Had the great camera on it, nice dedicated camera button. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to reproduce it with this XA. Guess what? It's not. It's a 720p, right? In today's day and age, that's just brutal. If you even say 720p, they're be like, huh? Like, I understand 1080. I'll do 1080 all day. I don't care. I do not have to have a quad display. Listen. 1080 is fine. If I'm going to get 15 hours of battery life, go ahead. But the things that I think that 99%, and correct me if I'm wrong, that people are after nowadays, beautiful display, nice camera. Nobody gives a shit about anything else.
Well, and good battery life. I'll say that as like in the
goes back to the screen. You got to have that balance between display and battery.
Well, I do think they need to have good software, but then at the same time, the whole argument of the quad display thing for battery is just kind of garbage and moot point to me, considering that there's so many phones out there that still put out decent battery life with quad resolution display. Why don't they just say
Galaxy S7?
Why don't we just say Galaxy S7, Nexus 6? They're all Samsung. They're all Samsung phones for like the last 4 freaking years. And LG's been doing it. Everybody else has been doing this thing, and there's some complaint about, well, if we don't make it quad, that's battery life. That's a bullshit argument. Okay.
Well, when a Galaxy S7 with very similar hardware to a OnePlus 3 can radically outperform the OnePlus 3 in most battery benchmarks, we have a lot of things going on where it's not just the resolution; it's the screen display technology, it's the software that's being run, Well, but there's a number of things. Like a lot of people say, oh, well, Samsung Skin is better optimized. Well, so apparently not just resolution, but better optimized software can help with battery too. Yeah. You keep moving the goalposts. Right. So for something like that, I would say, especially once we start looking at the potential for a 4K screen phone, you know, there's every opportunity to make that a smart display. Like Sony was on the right track. You know, you dumb down the phone to 1080p, 1/4 the actual screen display for UI elements, and then you fire it up when you need it. And in those situations, you've got like that best of both worlds baby step until we can just go over fully into 4K display elements.
I agree.
For something like Sony, though, that's obviously not what they're doing.
Why
they're not giving us the battery life argument. They're going cheap on us, but still charging the Sony premium.
Well, you're right, and you're right. Like you said with a Sony product, I mean, I'm watching a Sony television right now that's in front of me. Sony meant quality, and when you hold up their phones, you're like, yeah, this is great. But like Warren said, you're not even going to know they exist. You won't even know. If that XA was the greatest phone on the planet, no one's ever going to know. It's going to be the Z3 again. We're all going to go, yeah, that's XA. Hold on, it's in my box of phones. I don't even use it.
Somewhere.
Nobody knows about it. If you're going to get in the game, Microsoft Surface Phone, ridiculous. If you're going to get in the game, stay in the game. Do it or get the hell out of here.
Yeah. No, they're getting the hell out of here is what they're doing.
Oh, they are. They're tucking their tails and run. But yeah, if you don't want to pay the app developers, bye. Nobody cares.
Like everyone told them to do, hey, give the app developers some money and they'll make it.
Well, but even loved them. But and even tying it back to Sony, it's like we see a very weak and feckless strategy from North America where they can't even get the licensing on board to give us the fingerprint scanner.
Yeah, right.
You know, when you're talking about something that's now become sort of an accepted standard for a premium phone, and they won't actually get off their ass to fix whatever licensing dispute they have with that, then that means they're not taking this market seriously.
They don't care. And you know what? They aren't going to care until the PlayStations fail, and then the TVs fail, and then they go, oh, well, guess what?
Well, the TVs have failed.
They are
pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not top
the
3.
newest era.
Right.
Yeah,
so
top 3 in the
think
market.
They would want to beef up the other platforms and be like, hey, we got to have, you always
well, they ride on two things. They ride on PlayStation right now, mainly because Microsoft's kind of fucked up and Nintendo's just doing whatever the heck they're doing. And then secondly, it's the camera division and camcorders, and especially the camcorders.
Right.
If you go into television and movie making, everything's a Sony. If anybody worth their salt in the blogging world that uses a camcorder in some form or some way, it's probably a Sony.
Yeah, the internal components for sure, just like all the TVs are Samsung. So yeah, they're riding on the coattails, but you can't do that forever. You just can't. That's why it's just a waste. I don't even understand why are you releasing the phone? Just to say you got a phone and we're still here? No, dude. Like you said, you guys are all going to go there, take a picture. Juan's going to talk about it in a 5-minute CES rant, and it's gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but that's most of their products, unfortunately. Especially at CES, you'll see. I think I'm still the only person actually has a video of that MP3 player that does high-res audio.
Yeah, you would think I would actually.
I wanted to play with one of those. I couldn't get one here. Again, like,
what
talk about it.
One or two that were manufactured
from North America from 2 CESs ago.
Well, but but this was like for 2 years. It was, and especially even before I was with Pocketnow, it was like I want to talk about the Z3 Compact.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't get my hands on one until the Z5 was out.
Right, so it didn't matter.
Now I don't care.
Right, now it's irrelevant. That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't make sense.
They're amazing with what they pull off.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? That is Sony for you.
It really is.
And we have reached the end of our topics. Is there anything else?
Sorry to drag that out, you guys, but
is there anything else you guys want to add before we go to the giveaway and round up the show and all that fun stuff?
Woo!
Okay, I guess it's giveaway time.
Woo!
So
everybody's favorite time.
Yeah, so this is, of course, I said welcome to 2017 giveaway. It will run for 2 weeks. It's open international, so which means worldwide, anyone can enter. Yes, as Kashif is like, woo, also.
Ric Flair!
Ric Flair. This giveaway is brought to you by everyone you see here, as well as one other person. The YouTubers that are involved in this giveaway are Some Gadget Guy, Mr. Warren Bagnell. We also have Mr. Warren BWOne from BWOne.com, as well as Chad Christian from Chad Christian, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And all the social media, though, is CoachCWC. Sorry.
Yeah. There's no lower third to show.
Sorry.
and myself, Booredatwork, and finally, of course, Beginner's Tech, who couldn't join us today because he was is out and about. So what do you get to win in this giveaway? So a lot of stuff here, which is pretty cool. The main prize pack is sponsored by Synology, and they're giving their smart home surveillance kit. This kit includes a DS416j, as well as 3 terabyte Seagate NAS hard drive, the IronWolf, and 2 Amcrest ProHD cameras. Now, what's really cool about this is that you can set up your own home security network, which is not stored on any other person's cloud except yours. So the only way anyone can get access to it is if they come over and take your NAS away from where you actually store it. So it's as secure as you get with, of course, you can also set up encryptions and things like that. You can set up your Plex server on there. You can set up your email server. So you can do whatever you want with your NAS. So this is like a $700 bundle. And so somebody gets to win that. We're also giving away 2 LeEco S3s, courtesy of LeEco. So you get to win a smartphone, which is actually pretty cool. And also the Vernee Mars smartphones as another smartphone. This is a budget smartphone that you can win. And finally, a pair of those wonderful Apple AirPods that we talked about earlier.
Warren, I'm not giving you a pair. You don't care.
As long as you don't lose one of them, you're usually all straight.
I mean, for all the people here who are headphone junkies, if you dig into the AirPods, great. I personally, I would start looking at what you might be able to do on some sort of auction site to then go and get yourself a better pair. But considering how in demand they are, the price point you might be able to get for a pair of AirPods might be a little bit better than what they actually cost. I'm just saying.
Yes, definitely true. But yeah,
what I'm trying to say is, even though we've made fun of them, they are still a great prize. Is what I'm trying to say.
Thanks for sending those, Apple. We love
them. I don't think Apple really hooked us up.
So there you have it, guys. Those are the prizes you can win. They run for 2 weeks. It's a Gleam.io link. I am actually going to activate the link right now because I know some people are wondering. I can't enter. It's set for 11 minutes, but you know what? I'll be nice.
They can wait 11 minutes. Deal with it.
Wow. Wow. Okay, should I wait? Should I go? Consensus, guys?
Do whatever.
Warren's that dad who won't pull over at a restaurant when you have to go to the bathroom. We're only 50 miles away. You can hold it.
I know. Just hold it. You said we were holding it.
I'm doing 80 miles an hour. That's less than half an hour.
I love the fact that you actually did the maths quickly there, Juan. You're like, this is less than half an hour. I was like, yeah, it is. Okay, guys.
Damn it.
So it's gonna go live at 1:30. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go it now. Come on,
do it.
We can't be. What time is it?
Okay, 19.
So
Eastern Standard Time.
All right, 1:20. It's gonna go live in a minute, in 46 seconds, 45, and it's counting down. So it's going to go live, and you guys can enter into the contest. There are, of course, a couple of ways to enter. There are 12 ways to entry. The more entries you have, the better. And we will announce the winners on the 31st on our final show of the year. So join us then to hear the winners of the prizes. Now, the one thing I will mention is that some of these prizes might be delayed going out. I'm just putting it out there because we are traveling to CES in 2 days. Yeah. So that's the only thing I will mention. Some prizes might go out earlier, some prizes might go out later. So bear with us, and just
CES. Watch our content.
Yes, and watch content CES.
Deal with it.
So you're gonna have some cool stuff there. So giveaway is live. Now, moving on to the part of the show where we round up, and I know you're new to this, Chad, but this is where we tell people what's currently on our channel and what to expect next week. So I'll start off with the guy who always kicks it off all the time, Mr. Warren Bowman.
Didn't Juan start it last week?
No,
I did start it last week.
Yeah, but you were like, it's tradition.
It's tradition.
Tradition that he doesn't remember.
Really? You're the one who always starts. It's just once in a while Juan comes in to help you out, and
Wow.
Change.
Wow. Okay.
Bowman.
Apparently so. So next week I'll have some review videos that have been long awaiting to come out. I can't exactly say which day they are, but it'll be a surprise when they come out. Probably have some more Final Fantasy gameplay because I'm just having fun playing the game. So I'm just been streaming the game as I can. So I've been doing that for a little while, and the usual stuff will make its way to the channel.
Okay, cool stuff. All right, Mr. Juan Bagnell, what do you have currently, and what can we expect?
So on Pocketnow, we just recently did a little camera primer. This one was long overdue. I haven't done one of these fun like explanation videos for a while, but we were taking a look at dual camera systems. So looking at the differences between the iPhone 7 Plus, the LG V20, and the Huawei Mate 9. Just some of the pros and cons of each system and what you can expect were you to pick one of those up. I have a couple other things that I want to start talking about in terms of audio. So next week is going to be a good time slow down for all of the reviews, for us to play around with some of these other types of vloggier, fun examination videos. And then for Gadget Guy, I'm taking a look at a big battery. I'm finally getting a review out on a tiny little drone with a camera on it, which I think is kind of fun. And then I also released a major update to my book. So Take Better Photos, Smartphone Photography for Noobs. Just got 3 new chapters, a whole list of new exercises to help with photography, and some better, fixed a lot of typos in the book from when I originally put it out. So some sections now make a lot more sense when we're talking about the different features on different cameras and
version 2.
Well, it's version 1.2. Version 1.2.1, and you can tell that it's fancy now because I actually put chapter numbers instead of just chapter names.
Oh yeah, that's
so that was a huge upgrade. If you've already bought the book, you can update it through the Kindle store. If you haven't, it's pretty cheap. Go check it out and take your smartphone photography up a notch.
So Juan, could you supply us with a link so we can add it so that people can
absolutely.
check it out?
I definitely will.
All right, and now it's up to you, Chad. What did you have on your channel? What can we expect?
Well, recently I just did a review on the Alienware 17R4, which was really cool, a lot of fun. I did a bunch of gaming things on that with specs. My channel, we gear more towards latest technology as far as laptops. I don't do a ton of phone reviews, at least not right now. I like the laptops. I like to do a lot of things with games. So I did the same thing, I think 4 days ago. I did all of the MacBooks. If you look down, if you look down at the link below, this isn't my channel. I'll post it on my channel. But I also reviewed all of the MacBooks, the different versions, and I pitted them up against themselves. And I did gaming reviews on all the MacBooks, so make sure you check those out. Things that are coming up right now, I've got some different games that came in for the HTC Vive with some new developers that I haven't worked with before, but they did send me some products to review. I'm also going to do some gaming on this 4K HDR TV that I'm looking at right now because I've been getting a lot of questions on how does it look, is it any better, how's the 10-bit panels work, things like that. I've also got some software. I've got a bunch of people that are coming at me with software. One of the cool ones, if you look on my channel, I used Duet Display. It's where you're able to mirror basically your iPad or iOS device to any computer. Well, I've got another variant of that version coming out. And last but not least, the next video actually that's going to be produced is how to play your Steam games off of an external SSD drive and how to move them from different systems so that you don't have to keep re-downloading games anytime you go to a friend's or a different system or if your system crashes. So that's what I've got. And you can find me at Chad Christian out on YouTube or CoachCWC on all the other social media.
All right, cool. And from us, we put up our DJ Mavic Pro video. It's not a review because I was hobbling on one leg. I pulled my quad. So I just put out a video out there so people can check it out. It is probably my favorite drone because the camera quality, the functionality you get, and the fact that you can stream. I was hoping for it to continue snowing so I could go outside and then live stream snowing today, but it's not. Also did a review of the Lenovo Y910 Gaming All-in-One, which has a GTX 1080. It's really powerful stuff. And I'm using a new microphone today, which is this guy here. And I suggest if you're looking to get a mic, definitely pick it up. It's the Blue Yeti Blackout. We have our video up. What's really cool is that currently, currently
Yeti Pro.
Yeah, currently you can get the Blackout cheaper. See, everybody's like, so I can see yours, Juan. It's back there. It's back there, right there.
Yeah, my Yeti Pro is actually on a shelf. It's,
not just that, not just one.
Right now.
This dude, I got both of them.
Stereo.
Yes. So if you want to pick it up, you can pick up the Blue Yeti Blackout Edition with Watchdogs, and it is $10 cheaper than just getting it. So you can get it with a free game at a cheaper price right now. And then the last video I put up this week is my top 5 smartphones. And I really just kind of want to address this quickly because a lot of people complained and bitched that my top 5 did not include devices like the Mate 9 or the OnePlus 3. And why did I have a blue phone in there? Just put it out here simply. If you used any common sense, and I'm sorry to people, because I did a price as well as also just pure functionality for all these devices. And that's why my top 5 phones also include devices that are cheaper, because it can't always be super expensive devices. Yeah, so just putting that out there. Coming up next week, we're going to have, actually starting today, I'm going to have a review of some high-end headphones from Bear Dynamics. They are some really great listening headphones. I can't remember the name, but I remember the price because they are $700. Also, I'm going to be doing a review of that laptop there. That is a Dell Precision 5510. Just kind of showcase something else that you can get other than the MacBook Pro that does the job better with an SD card slot in there too, just so you know. Pro. Yes. And then I think that's it that I can think of my head. Oh yes, and I do have a last minute holiday gift guide and how you can actually get some things pretty quickly online for the holidays. So that will be showing up either Monday or Tuesday next week. So you can get stuff before Christmas. And that is it, guys. Thank you very much for hopping on the show. Thank you, Chad, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys. Merry Christmas.
Yes, thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Now, guys, if you want to check out Chad, you can see him on YouTube. It is Chad Christian. And of course, you want to follow him on social media. On Twitter, it is CoachCWC, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and every other social network. So definitely check him out there and see some of his cool content he has, especially with laptops. I checked it out a couple of days. I didn't realize how much extensive stuff you do with laptops, but that's actually pretty cool. And next up, Mr. Warren Bowman from BWOne.com, the man who is putting Final Fantasy to the test.
Yeah, he is. Nice work, Warren. Those are awesome videos. Good job.
So definitely.
And I'm actually not half bad at playing the game because I have watched other people play this game. One of my friends that I work with, he's been doing some Final Fantasy games. He's a big Final Fantasy fan, so he's been kind of coaching me on some of the things to do. And then I've been watching some other people's videos and sort of reviews of playing the game, and I thought I was bad.
Jedi Master, you didn't even know it.
Yeah, so definitely check him out. It's BWOne.com on YouTube, on Twitter. Check out his videos. Got some really good stuff, but right now he's on a Final Fantasy binge. So go ahead and check those videos out and watch them. He's usually live at least once a day. Playing Final Fantasy. And of course, Mr. Warren Bowman again, Mr. Juan Bagnell.
That's Juan, not Juan.
No.
I'm telling you, there's sometimes where neither of us know who you're talking to.
I know.
Why do you think we sit there silent? Like, I'm not sure what he said.
Yeah, Mr. Juan Bagnell. Okay. From Pocketnow. You can follow him on Twitter. It is Some Gadget Guy. And then, of course, you can check out the videos on Some Gadget Guy as well as also on Pocketnow. Again, guys, for us, it's Booredatwork, as you know. We work on YouTube and Twitter. In terms of Final Fantasy, we're going to do a live stream. And luckily for you guys, I am not playing it because I am terrible. My buddy is doing streams on Twitch. I'll tweet it out for you guys because he finished the game in 3 or 4 days. I don't know how he did that, but
We grinded it out.
Grinded.
Yeah.
Looks like we grinded.
but yeah, he's much better at Final Fantasy, so you can check it out. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching the show. Thank you, Chad, for joining us this week. Again, our giveaway is live, so go ahead and enter into the giveaway. I'm sure you will also see specific giveaway videos from us, just remind you throughout the week. So check it out, share, retweet, all that fun stuff, and always enjoy your entertainment.